What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this quick conversation. Well, hopefully quick conversation about a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. So the first thing is Jonathan Majors. So this Rolling Stone article recently came out on June the 29th to be exact. And it was an expose, hard-hitting, very, very negative portrayal of Jonathan Majors. Now, he has a trial that is coming up later on this year where he was charged with assaulting his ex-girlfriend. And so that is still looming. Now, coming from that particular incident, the assault incident, Jonathan Majors has also filed a complaint, I guess, with the City of New York prosecution office, where he has accused the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend, Miss Jabari, of actually being the aggressor and assaulting him first. So that's going on. I don't know how far the New York or the Manhattan DA's office is going to take that situation. I don't know if they're going to issue an arrest warrant for her. I have no idea. Time will tell. But amidst all of this stuff going on about him allegedly assaulting his ex-girlfriend and her assaulting him, Rolling Stone comes out with this article that is like absolutely scathing. It portrays Jonathan Majors as this very aggressive, violent, intimidating type of person. They talk about his romantic relationships when he was at Harvard University, and they don't necessarily talk directly with the women that he was romantically involved with. There are two relationships that the article centers on. And one relationship, it alleges that Jonathan Majors had actually strangled his girlfriend at the time. And in another relationship, it alleges that he was very emotionally abusive towards her. And he was also very emotionally abusive towards the first lady as well. It doesn't name any names, and I don't even think that the reporters of Rolling Stone talked to the two women directly. They were conducting interviews with people that witnessed incidents take place between Jonathan Majors and his then girlfriends, and people who were who were friends with or who knew the two women directly. Now, this article was based on dozens of interviews. It was over a 3-month time span, and it included 40 people that Rolling Stone had interviewed for this particular article. They interviewed everybody from Jonathan Majors' grad school at Harvard, people that he worked with in Hollywood, and of course, people that he also dated. All the sources that were involved in this article requested anonymity because they were in fear of repercussion directly from Jonathan Majors, and also they were in fear of personal retribution from Mr. Majors. So nobody gave their name. Everything was given anonymously. And it kind of makes you question the validity of these reports if everybody was anonymous, because all of them were talking about, all of them alleged that they were afraid that Jonathan Majors was going to come after them if they revealed who they were. So this whole entire article is based on information given by anonymous sources. So like I said, it's a very scathing article. It talks about him being aggressive in romantic relationships. Like I said, of the two women that were mentioned, one of them allegedly he had strangled. And in that particular relationship, he was so abusive that the girl had wanted to break up with them. She had planned an exit plan or an exit strategy to get out of the relationship. But for whatever reason, at the end of the day, she decided to go ahead and stay with Jonathan Majors. The article also alleges that he was very controlling with the women that he dated, to the point of where he controlled what they ate and who they hung out with. The article also alleges that in the acting school that he was a part of at Harvard, which was a very, very, very exclusive acting group or acting school, only 15 students were allowed, I think, each semester. So when he was a part of this acting school, the people that worked with him in production, they talk about how aggressive he was on set and off set. People were walking on eggshells around him because they didn't know what type of Jonathan that they would get on any particular day. While the sources say that he was very charismatic, he was very charming, he knew how to pull people in with his personality, at the same time, he had this very dark side to him that people were deathly afraid of. Now, in the acting group, supposedly they had reported to their professors reporters whenever Jonathan Majors would act violently against them or violently towards them or very aggressive by yelling and screaming at them. Some of the people that were the bunt that bared the brunt of this behavior had reported this to professors and higher ups. And when Rolling Stone contacted the professors or the administrators to ask them exactly what was reported to them by these students who worked with Jonathan Majors, Rolling Stone was told that those reports were confidential, and that they were not going to reveal what was said in those reports, and that they were within, state and federal law to not reveal those reports to a publication like Rolling Stone. So they kind of got nowhere with that. So then it moves on to talk about how he acted in Hollywood. And when he began working in Hollywood, the same thing was said. The people that worked with him on various projects, various films, said that he would be aggressive, that he would be yelling at people, screaming at people, barking at people, that he was also very controlling on set. And his defense is because his lawyers did respond to Rolling Stone. One of his lawyers said that when Jonathan took on a role, he immersed himself completely in that role. And very similar to Robert De Niro, like when they took on a role, they were that character like morning, noon, and night. It wasn't just turn on the character when you're in front of the camera, when you're on stage. No, they lived that character like 24/7. So his lawyer said that if he did act in any kind of aggressive manner, it wasn't because it was Jonathan Majors being aggressive. It was because he was immersed in his character, and this is what he needed to do to kind of become this character. So it was all just for role playing. It really wasn't serious. It was just play. So they shouldn't have taken it that seriously. And it goes on to talk about how the people that he worked with in Hollywood, the ones that had alleged that he was being very aggressive towards them, they would report it to producers, and they were told that they needed to give Jonathan his space. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if it meant, hey, leave him alone, stay away from him if you feel like he's, getting too scary for you, or if it meant, he is our prized possession right now. He's our prized actor. He's our moneymaker. So, let him be who he needs to be or what he wants to be in order to get this project done. So this entire article was just horrible. It painted him in such a bad light. Now, there was one particular girlfriend that they spoke to, and I think she actually gave her name, and she had nothing but really nice things to say about Jonathan. She said that she dated Jonathan from the ages of 13 to 18, and she said that she had a great relationship with him, that he was very sweet to her, very caring, very loving. She didn't see any signs of aggression at all whatsoever. So her experience with Jonathan was a very positive experience. And I just don't know. I don't know. Now, is it possible that he was this way? Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. I don't know the man personally. I didn't even know who he was until Creed 3 came out. Yes, it is possible that he could have been. I have no idea. But I think that it could be possible that he was this way. And I think it's also possible that there is some type of a campaign going on to ruin this man's career and ruin his life. I think that both can coexist. Yes, he could have been aggressive and he could have done all these things that they accuse him of. And yes, there could also be some type of nefarious thing going on where there's people or a person or something or an entity that wants this man gone. They want him completely gone from Hollywood, and they don't want him to work anymore as a professional actor. And these stories, these articles, they can't be controlled, freedom of the press. No one is saying that the press needs to be silenced on anything to do with Jonathan Majors, but it is definitely, I believe, tainting the jury pool when it comes to his trial that's coming on later on in the year. So, and that jurors are only human, right? So they may listen to the facts of the case, but articles that they've read, information that they know about Jonathan can still color their judgment or color their opinion. And of course, when they go through the jury process, the attorneys are going to be asking them, how do you know who he is? Have you read the articles about him? And the people that say yes are going to be quickly probably, X'd out. from being a possible juror, but still, jurors are only human. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. If he did do these things, if he was acting in this, very tyrannical type of way where he was out there scaring people and intimidating people and putting his hands on women, then shame on him. Then whatever he's got coming to him, oh well. But if these stories are being exaggerated because they're out to get him, then that's just, really sad. I don't know which way to go. I have no idea, because on the one hand, could 40 plus people be lying? Could they get together to lie about this one person? It's possible. On the other hand, I don't know, maybe where there's smoke, there's fire. I have no idea. And especially since, these accusations came out after he allegedly, could have possibly assaulted his girlfriend. Now let's talk about that real quick. So with this latest issue, his latest case with Miss Jabari, I keep forgetting her first name. Is it Grace? Is it Grace Jabari? With this latest situation where he was charged with assaulting her, number one, he now claims that she was the aggressor and that she began assaulting him. My question is, well, why didn't he say that at the time that the police were there? If there were scratches on him or anything like that, the taxi cab driver who his lawyers say witnessed Miss Jabari become aggressive towards him, did he not give a statement to the police? Why are you saying this now, Jonathan? Why didn't you say it at the time? That's number one. Number two, even if she was the aggressor, and she did put her hands on him, she was wrong for that. She should have been arrested as well. If they were both fighting each other, or she put her hands on him first and she left, whatever, she should have been arrested as well. Okay, you need to keep your hands to yourself, bottom line. But at the same time, in reality, even though legally, she was a wrongdoer, in reality, no matter how hard she could have, hit him or punched him or whatever, this guy is like pure muscle mass. What could she have done to him that could compare to what he could have did to her? You know what I'm saying? It's like, men, when a woman puts their hands on you, they are definitely in the wrong, and the reaction should not be to defend yourself by hitting her back. The reaction should be to call the police or to get away from her. I see there's a lot of stories out there where, men are beginning to put their hands on women. Women think that they can push the limit, that they can, test the waters and put their hands on men. And a lot of men are beginning to react with fists. But I still feel like, because men, I do believe, are stronger than women in most situations. You could, everybody just keep their hands to themselves. Everybody, men, women, children, let's just all keep our hands to ourselves. Moving on from there, let's talk about Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey is currently in London right now in the middle of a criminal trial for assaulting young men. Now, there are 4 men who are accusing him of assault between 2001 to 2013, when Spacey worked at London's Old Vic Theatre as the artistic director. So these men are accusing him of some very serious things. It stems from grabbing their private areas very aggressively to possibly drugging one of them, and that person was either semi-conscious or unconscious when they woke up with Kevin Spacey performing fellatio on them. Okay, some really crazy stuff. So he's been accused of these horrible things, and just to kind of sum it all up, London prosecutors are calling him a sexual bully who preyed on these young men and perform unwanted acts on them while they're unconscious or semi-conscious. Kevin Spacey, of course, denies all of these allegations. Kevin Spacey says that because he came out in 2020, this automatically made him a target for opportunists. Because he came out as gay, he thinks that now, people felt like, okay, now we can use him for his money, accuse him of doing all these things, or maybe he can, pay us off just to go away. Okay, that's what he's alleging. Kevin Spacey denies all the allegations, and he says, once he beats this case, he's going to be able to return back to work. So Kevin Spacey feels like he's not going to have an issue going back to work and getting jobs. He says there's jobs waiting for him right now. They're just waiting for this case to be over, for him to be found not guilty, and he's going straight back to work. Whereas Jonathan Majors, nobody knows exactly what his future is going to be, even if he is found not guilty. Harvard University. What the hell is going on there? So Harvard University has a female hockey team, and they had a head coach by the name of Katie Stone, 57 years old, who was their head coach for 29 years. She has recently retired. Now, upon her retirement, the story came out that there was this very toxic on and off ice culture at Harvard, on and off the ice culture. So there's accusations of some very serious hazing rituals, sexually charged hazing rituals. The players were forced to drink and dive on the ice in a Superman pose completely naked. The list goes on of the things we're made to do. I don't even think I can even mention this stuff here on YouTube. Very explicit things they were forced to do on this Harvard female or women's hockey team. The school had to, upon Katie Stone's retirement, the school had to hire a law firm called Jenner & Block to conduct an independent inquiry to these allegations of these extreme hazing rituals. This report may never be released to the public to protect the parties who participated. Katie Stone coached the silver medal winning USA women's hockey team back in 2014 at the Sochi Olympics. The players of the Harvard hockey team, they claimed that she was aware of these hazing rituals, where a lot of them were being victimized in a sexual manner by, I guess, other players. She was aware of what was going on, but she didn't do anything to stop it, according to some of the victims here. So this article I read on Mail Online, like the things that these girls had to go through, it was just unbelievable. They had to dive on the ice naked in a Superman pose as part of these hazing rituals. And so now this woman has retired. She claims, I'm assuming she's going to claim that she didn't know any of this was happening. The students are going to claim that they did come to her. Now their hockey team, their female hockey team, has the highest turnover rate out of all the athletics department at Harvard. Their turnover rate, I think they said it was like 70 or 75%. It was extremely high. And the environment was extremely toxic. But now Harvard, now that they've become aware of what was going on, they claim that they are going to eradicate all of that. Michigan, the state of Michigan. Michigan State House of Representatives has passed a bill which is called HB 4474, which is going to criminalize causing someone to feel threatened by words. So you know that old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, not in the state of Michigan. Not in the state of Michigan. Words will hurt, and you can face up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000 if you are convicted of verbally assaulting someone or saying something to someone that makes them feel intimidated, that might make them feel fearful. Now, in this bill, it specifically addresses sexual orientation and gender identity or expression as a protected class. So what this means is that if someone is, okay, obviously you can't say anything, you can't insult anyone because of their sexual orientation or how they identify themselves. By gender, how do they identify their gender identity? You can't make fun of them for that. And it goes even further. So if someone was born genetically male, but now they are living as a female and identify as female, and you constantly refer to them as he, him, constantly refer to them as being a man, a male, a boy, or whatever, when they want to be identified as female, you can be charged for that. And you can be facing up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. So it could be a felony to intimidate someone by intentionally using the wrong gender and pronouns if they feel intimidated or if they feel like you're doing this to threaten them, etc. So it passed the House. Now the Senate is considering it. And if it passes the Senate, then the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, is expected to sign off on it. So words are going to have a huge effect in the state of Michigan. Michael Jackson. Do y'all remember his former doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray? Well, he was convicted of manslaughter. So basically he was convicted of killing Michael Jackson because he was pumping him so much of, what is that drug called? Propofol? I wrote it down here. I think it's called propofol. Yeah, propofol. He was pumping Michael Jackson with a nightly drip of propofol, an unpredictable and potentially fatal anesthetic. And this is what caused Michael Jackson's death, because this is a drug that they use to put people for general anesthesia, to put people under when they go in for surgery for general anesthesia. He was giving this to Michael Jackson as a sleeping aid. Okay. And he wasn't properly monitored. First of all, you don't even give it to someone to help them sleep. Michael Jackson suffered from severe insomnia. That's what the reports say. And he could not go to sleep for nothing. So they decided to put him on propofol. I guess him and the doctor decided to do this. And which was absolutely wrong. The prosecution, the people that prosecuted him, basically said that he completely threw his Hippocratic oath to the wayside. He was a very reckless doctor and not looking out for the best interest of his patient at all. And so he wasn't properly monitoring this propofol drip, and Michael Jackson ended up, I think, dying in his sleep. And so the man was convicted. I think he got 11 years, but only served 3, if I'm not mistaken. He served less than half of his time. Well, now he's out. Well, he's been out for a while, and he wants to go back to practicing medicine. He can't practice medicine in the United States anymore. Okay, we said hell no to that. So he went to Trinidad, which is his home country. He went back to Trinidad to try to open up his medical group. That didn't work. Trinidad didn't want anything to do with him. So he finally opened up his own business. It's called the DCM Medical Institution. It opened up in May in El Socorro, San Juan. I'm assuming that's Puerto Rico. And so that's where now this man is practicing medicine. He killed a pop icon, a historical figure in the United States, responsible for Michael Jackson's death, and now he is out there practicing medicine. Who in the world would go to him for anything? I wouldn't go to him for vitamins, let alone for anything more serious than that. But I guess if you've never heard of him and I don't know who hasn't heard of Michael Jackson, but I guess, if you're one of these new generation people, you never heard of Michael Jackson, I don't know. Please don't make this man your doctor. So when he worked for Michael Jackson, he was getting paid $150,000 a month as Michael Jackson's doctor. Alicia Keys. Do y'all remember when Alicia Keys was out there rebelling against beauty? Okay, she wasn't rebelling against beauty per se. She was rebelling against makeup and the beauty industry, making women feel like they had to put on makeup to be beautiful. So then she stopped wearing makeup when she was making her public appearances. Now, when she first started doing this, we would see pictures of her without makeup, fine. And I just assumed that if she had to attend a major event, that she was going to, dab a little something on her face, a little lip gloss, a little something, a little mascara, nothing. So she was making all these, events and appearances and doing all that with no makeup at all. And she says that she was just trying to be very rebellious. And she said that she was just trying to make a point that women don't need makeup to feel beautiful. You can be beautiful with your own natural beauty. We need to stop being addicted and so dependent on makeup whenever we're out in public. We don't need it. We have our own natural beauty, etc. Her life, her choice. She can do whatever the hell she wants to do, right? Well, she's on a complete 180 because now Alicia Keys, she's back to wearing makeup and she has a makeup line and it's called Keys Soul Care. Alicia Keys now has a makeup line. The woman who went without makeup, I don't know, was it for like 6 years or something? She went without makeup. Now she has her own makeup line. I guess she realized how lucrative it was, and women's addictions to makeup is making people extremely rich, and she wants a cut of that. So she says that it's supposed to be very natural, very light feeling. It's not very heavy. I've never known of any type of makeup to not feel heavy. Anytime I don't wear, I don't really do much, but back in the day when I was addicted to makeup, I could not think of anything that ever felt light. I mean, every time I had it on, I could feel it on my face. But yeah, Alicia Keys is now wearing makeup. NaomiCampbell, congratulations to her. 53-year-old NaomiCampbell has welcomed her second child. She now has a little boy. She already has a little girl who's about 2 years old, 2 or 3. She must be about 2 years old. Well, now she just recently welcomed a little boy. I don't know how she's having these children. She's keeping it top secret. Nobody knows. I did a video on NaomiCampbell having her first child, and I had questioned, like why won't she talk about how she's having her children? Like, why does it have to be top secret, as if it's something to be ashamed of or whatever? Honey, they dragged me in those comments. Okay, they left me barely breathing. Okay, they came for me in those comments. It's none of your business how she has her babies. Leave her alone. She doesn't have to tell anybody. Okay, fine, it's her business. So congratulations to NaomiCampbell. That's all I'm gonna say. Nobody knows how this little boy came into the world. Nobody knows, and apparently I'm not supposed to ask questions. Phoebe Copus, let's talk about her. So Phoebe Copus is a 48-year-old woman from Kentucky who was visiting her boyfriend in El Paso, Texas. So she called on an Uber to meet up with her boyfriend, and the Uber arrived, and it was driven by Daniel Pedra Garcia, 52 years old. So Daniel was her Uber driver. So while he's taking her to her destination, she thought that she was being kidnapped and taken into Mexico because she was seeing signs on the freeway that said Juarez, Mexico. So she thought she was being taken into Mexico. So what she does is that she takes out a gun and she shoots Mr. Garcia in the back of the head, killing him. Now she is sitting in jail on a $1.5 million bond. Now, when the police showed up and did their investigation, he wasn't taking her anywhere other than where he was supposed to take her, which was to go meet up her boyfriend at some casino. He was not off track or off route or any of that. I guess she's not familiar with border states, especially cities that are very, very, very close to the border. El Paso, I think it's literally, you can walk from Mexico to into Texas. That's how close El Paso is to Mexico. Very, very close. And so it's a border city. So there's going to be signs that lead you to Mexico because it's that close. So it's no big deal to see signs on the freeway or on the roads that they'll name different Mexican cities. I guess she was unfamiliar with that. I guess she thought that in the United States, no road can lead you to Mexico. So she doesn't know how border states work. But yeah, you can drive from the United States into Mexico, from Mexico into the United States through Texas, I think Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. You can drive back and forth. And so there's signs leading you to Mexico. But he wasn't taking her to Mexico. He was taking her to the damn casino. Well, she thought she was being kidnapped. And so she put a bullet in his head. And now this man is dead. He was the sole provider for his family. He took up Ubering because he had injured his knee at his previous job. So he wanted to do something that was a little bit less physical. And now this man is gone because this idiotic woman thought that she was being kidnapped and taken into Mexico. How one decision can change the lives of many. So now she's sitting in jail on a $1.5 million bond. I don't know, where her boyfriend's at, if he's available to bail her out. Most likely she will be going to prison because who does that? Why don't you call the police instead of trying to kill? Anyways, so that is the end of my video. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.